Hey guys, going to show you how I remove this hex mesh. This hex mesh is about 78% open area. We're going to bring it out to 100%, get that extra 22. And the tool you want to use is a nipper, and you just want to go around the perimeters and just get each one of those babies as close to the edge as you can, because I'm going to end up filing all the little hex deals down flat. Okay. Because of the way they make these grills, you're going to end up with an irregular outline. And you can cover that up with grill, or you can just live with it. In this case, I'm going to be putting a custom-made shroud over the whole top. It's going to hide everything. So I can open this up to 120 millimeters. Just basically showing you. Okay, and I don't have to do the whole thing, but you can see you just go all the way around. And then if you just want to leave these, you can file them with a file, or you can file them flat, or you can go after them with a rotary grinder. I use a larger one. I don't use a Dremel. But let me show you how a 120 millimeter fan really looks. Okay, you put 120, maybe you can see it better from this way, and you put 120 mil on there. See this area? This is all blocking it, so that all gets ground away. And then what you end up with is you don't get an exact 120 millimeter circle, because he wants to leave these. So I'm just going to grind them in a little bit with the rotary grinder when I get going, to a mark that I'll scratch with a scratch awl, using this as a template. But if you actually were to put them right there, you end up with almost nothing there. And so he wants a little bit there, so we're just going to go like that. Okay? I'll show you that part in a minute. I just wanted to show you what you end up with if you were to just nip out the hex. Okay? You can see these sharp points are overlapping the fan, and then here you're going to end up with three little points on each side. If you file those down, it's not going to hurt anything. The frame of the fan is still going to cover that area. But you just can't, with a Corsair, you just can't get a nice perfect round circle. It's just never going to happen. So we're going to do something else. Okay, and then I use a scratch awl. Okay, you got to make sure your tip is nice and scratchy, because metal will dull it after a while. You have to sharpen it. And then, without pushing this wimpy little Silenex frame around, because you don't want to warp it, I make a scratch mark right into the paint. And that gives me a much better line to follow than, let's say, if I were to try and do a pencil mark on it, black on black obviously, or a Sharpie, which is huge. Even a fine Sharpie is huge. And what I get here is I get a mark that's so fine. I'll just undo it real quick so you can see it. Okay, and now I'm going to get what I need to cut. See, I can see that nice bright scratch. And as you can see, to get full flow, you would have to go all the way down into this area here. Now this thing's getting powder coated, so scratches, working on the bench on top of stuff doesn't matter as much. So otherwise I would have the whole thing taped up, except for the little area that I want to do my surgical incision in. But in this case, as you can see, the 120 comes right out to the flange there, but for whatever reason, Corsair decided to make this little indent a couple mils too short. So like I was saying, you can't make a beautiful circle in the Corsair 800D, but you can open it up to 100% airflow. Guys, thought I'd show you the operation here. This is the Dremel on steroids, speed control, Milwaukee die grinder. That way you can choose the speed you want to use. And now let me focus on the sparks that will soon be flying. I've clamped down my piece here. I'll just zoom in on it a little bit for y'all. You can see some action. And I'm going to start removing material. Okay, what I was trying to demonstrate there is that you got to move from area to area. You don't want to overheat what you're doing, especially if you're trying to save this finish, even though this is a baked on powder coat type finish. If you put too much heat in it, it's going to affect the finish. So you got to move around, move around, move around, move around. You don't want to bear down with the tool too much. Okay, I'll show you why I'm moving the tool back and forth. Okay, as you can see, it starts to leave the metal on there. Then that doesn't do anything except heat the metal up when it goes by. Or if you keep it in a place too long, it'll make little grooves, wear out your grinder too fast. So you got to move back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth. You're sort of an oscillating sander machine yourself to make that work out right. So it's going to be a little work, but it's faster than filing. Okay guys, I want to show you another step, if the camera will cooperate and stop focusing on the floor. Take a sanding drum, it's like emery paper, it's garnet. Then I get right up to that line that I made with the rotary grinder. The rotary grinder's diameter is so small it's going to leave little waves. So I don't go right up to the scratch line. So, little ways away from the scratch line. And I work right up to it with this larger diameter. So see, by squishing it with my fingers, distorting it a little bit, I can get it to follow the profile on after. Right up onto that edge. And what this also will do is take that little bit of flash, a little bit of burr that's built up from the rotary reaction, which hides the edge, makes it look fatter than it really is. You can see that little wire that's coming off, that's the flash. You just sort of rasp it in one direction, and that will take that right off. And then rasp it back. Gotta be careful, you want to have masking tape on this if you don't want to be finishing it. Masking tape. But what you're after is when your finger touches it, you don't want to feel anything sharp. I'm just showing you this one little area. Normally I would do the whole thing. See how that flash is going out the bottom? I rolled it up with my finger so I could get at it. This is all what you end up doing. I usually do the whole thing once, go from one process to another. So I'll be rotary grinding the rest of it after I snip every bit of it, grind it a little bit, hand shape it a little bit, and get that burr out there. And that's about what I'm after. Right up to my scratch mark. Okay? Hey, before I got to the rest of the nipping and cutting and all, I just wanted to show you why it's not practical to try and cut circles out of here unless you just go ahead and nip off these and just open the whole thing up. It's not going to work out. So the profile that I came up with, I don't think it's too weird, huh? But it's definitely, this goes all the way out to the fan. This part here just goes to where this bevel starts, just like this, which means I had to hold in for the fan. And then I did the same over here, which as you can see is going to leave me a good bit of meat to the middle line. This is the middle line. Do the same over here, and here, and here. So that's all hand shaping. And ditto up here, come right up to the deal but not touch it. The sides you can cut all the way out. I have no idea why Corsair did that. It makes no sense at all. This is a couple mils off being the correct length from end to end. I'm not sure what that was all about, man. Okay guys, and I didn't want you to think it was all just playing around with a power tool, because there's an awful lot of hand filing. As you can see, these are already straightened out, but you can see the little nips there, and I'll just show you some photos. Okay, and then you end up with a straight edge, and all the way around on each one. And then I take out some of this material with the file, and then I get the rest with the rotary grinder.